Hello and welcome to my latest video. So this time we're going to be taking our second look through my collection of Retrogamer magazines. Now, as I mentioned last time, I was lucky enough to be gifted about 100 or so of these magazines, all in absolutely immaculate condition. I'm really pleased that I was given them because I'm just love retro games in general and gaming from times gone by. So this time we're going to be looking at the second half of the collection, including the big thick retro gaming specials and hardware books as well. So brilliant stuff to be going through here. I think you'll enjoy going through them as much as I will. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Right then, so let's start our second look through, and we pick up basically where we left off last time with issue 129, or they call it Load 129. And this one's looking at classic maze games. Plus 25 years of the Atari Lynx and the hardest games of all time. And look, they've got Ghosts and Goblins, so they're not joking there. That game's just ridiculous. Number 130 then is Crazy Taxi. That was great, wasn't it? I remember first time I ever played it was when it got released on the Dreamcast. I was staying with my mate in New York, and we were there the week, or rather I was there, he lived in New York. I was there the week the Dreamcast was released over there, and just showing off, he planned to get one anyway, but he phoned up this company who did like same day deliveries within New York. This is back in the 90s, you know, and I was blown away. Someone just turned up about an hour later with the Dreamcast and Crazy Taxi, amongst other things. Couldn't believe it. Number 131 then, Rampage, the fall of full motion video. 20 years of the Elder Scrolls. Good games, aren't they? This is number 132, and this is 30 years of the Atari 7800. I did own one of those. I was never ever into it as much as I enjoyed my 2600. I used to be able to pick them up around and about. This is, I can't see it on the front there, but it says 133, and this is a look at Punch-Out. And looks like a little special on Streets of Rage and Hard Driving. Yep, so this is 134. This is celebrating 2 decades of the Sega Saturn. That's a console that I've grown to enjoy recently by playing the emulator, in fact, and there's some really great Sega Saturn games that I've been enjoying. So 135, and this is a look at Pokemon. And look, this is it says a limited edition subscribers only cover 4 of 4. So I'm guessing my friend must have the one who gave me all these. He must have subscribed direct rather than picking them up in a newsagent's. 136, back to having the names on the front. That's good news. And this is a look at Elite. Whoever played Elite 30 years ago. Was it really that long? Plus a look at interview with Archer McLean. He did that great Mercury game for the PSP that I loved. That was fantastic. So this is, once again, it's not on the thing, but on the cover, but number 137. This is how the PlayStation changed gaming. It certainly did. .138, point and click. Yep, look at early point and click games. And the Dragon 32, best games for that. 139 is the greatest NES games ever. That's a tough choice because there's a lot of great NES games, isn't there? But good stuff. And then 140 is a look at Lemmings. Still around today. Plus Boulder Dash, that was good, wasn't it? 30 years of the Atari ST. Your Guide to Kung Fu Master. Speedball 2. God, I remember playing that one on the Atari 800 XL. 141, gaming's biggest disasters. Oh yeah, the Power Glove. Who remembers the Power Glove? That was awful, wasn't it? I remember seeing those for sale in Virgin. Thinking, who's going to buy that? It wasn't me. Number 142 then. Shoot 'em ups or schmucks. Love them. Absolutely love shoot 'em ups. Particularly, I think they're great in this day and age because who's got time to devote, to more than one or two full-on games? I love the appeal of schmucks because they can be sort of, a quick blast and you're in and out. Number 143 then is F-Zero, racing's turning point. Yeah, that was true, but I mean, it wasn't that good, was it? Number 144, 1942. Chocks away, chaps. Yes, it's funny, but 1942 is still eminently playable today. There are various sort of Android app versions of it. It came out on virtually every system. It's easy to play. You just pick up and play, and it's great fun. Really, really enjoy 1942. Issue 145 is a look at Space Harrier. Another great game here. Quite a bit else in here as well. Little articles on the Game Boy camera. Arkanoid. God, I love Arkanoid. And Arkanoid 2. Play them for ages. Just love them. The SNES version of Arkanoid or Arkanoid 2 is particularly good if you ever get around to playing that one on an emulator. 146 is a look at the Neo Geo. That was a system and a half, wasn't it? Those big arcade cartridges. Very expensive system to collect today. 147 is 30 greatest Super Mario moments. Amazing. There's so many. 148 is the all-time greatest BBC games. This is for the BBC Model B, and definitely they've got Chucky Egg. That was the killer app, wasn't it, for the BBC? It just ran so smoothly on the BBC B with Chucky Egg. But the other home consoles of the time still did have good versions of it. The Spectrum one is good as well. Here we are. So look at Star Wars Arcade, the old vector graphic one with the little snippets of speech. Fantastic stuff. I love it. Absolutely love it. There we are. Hopefully we can get the entire mag in now. So this is Retrogamer number 150, and it's your 150 greatest games ever. Gaming legends celebrate your personal picks, plus with a full history of Nintendo. So it was a landmark issue, number 150. Number 151 is Street Fighter 2. And it is amazing looking through these. I mean, I remember before these mags existed, I used to write for 2 retro gaming fanzines. One was Retro Classics and one was just called Retro Gamer. Or Retro Games, I seem to remember. Number 152 is a look at Wipeout. And I used to do the sort of the handheld Game & Watches, and those were my sort of specialty. I look at Kari Warriors, another great game. And I did have an article in one of the early issues of Retro Gamer. I think it's in number 7 on Game & Watches. This is number 153, and this is now what was this? This is Sega's 32X. So you could have like a Mega Drive and you could whack the 32X bit on top of it, and obviously you had like the CD version as well. This has also got How Rare Ruled the Nintendo 64, which was cool, which, let's be honest, it did with things like GoldenEye. I mean, that was just incredible, wasn't it? Now, number 154 is 20 years of Quake. So I can't decide if I enjoyed Quake or Doom more. I think it was probably Doom, to be honest. When I first played Doom, it was on the PC, and there was lots of little... You could have like little patches. So I seem to remember the Aliens movie was out around that time, and I remember that someone had done like an Aliens version, so the big bad guys in Doom were replaced with aliens, and that was pretty cool, I seem to recall. Number 155 then is 30 years of the NES. Little look at Empire Strikes Back, Atari Empire Strikes Back up in the top corner there. The Complete History of Sega. Number 156, this is great. The Road Trip of a Lifetime, Outrun. Sega All-Stars celebrate the incredible 30-year-old arcade racing series. Yeah, one of my favourites. If there was an arcade game that I would like to own, it would be Outrun. Not the sit-down, they're just the stand-up. Absolutely fantastic. And they're not that dear to get. It's just, they're so unreliable. They're always breaking down that I just would put me off, 157 is a look at the N64. Nintendo's Midas Touch, 64 reasons why the classic console is one to treasure. It was great, but I think, and it's an easy one. Yeah, I'd say it's an easy one, but I mean, if you had your original N64 and you've managed to get 30, 40 games for it, you wouldn't need to have a massive journey to finish off the set. But nowadays, when I've played N64, particularly on the big screen, emulated, it's not a lot of fun. It's not too bad on a mobile phone screen, but it really has, I think it's dated worse than you might think. 158 then is the 25th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog with a little ZX81 on the side there. I used to have a spare ZX. When I collected all the Sinclair stuff, I had a few spare ZX81s that were bust. And this is back in the days when you'd have like a tower system for your main PC. And I took an N61, because they're only small like that, put some blue tack on it and blue tacked it to the side of my tower of my main computer. So it was like a 1K ZX81 blue tacked to the side. It was just brilliant. I thought it looked good. 159 then is Streets of Rage 2. Look at Streets of Rage 2. They were all good, the Streets of Rage games. Hellish tough, but I had a friend at work who actually recently managed to go through and complete it. He was incredibly pleased. Number 160 then is Nintendo's 3D Game Changer. So this is a look at the GameCube. So this is about as late as it's got. What I've not seen in here is any sort of coverage of the Xbox yet, the original Xbox, so maybe that's still classed as too recent. It's the only retro console I collect nowadays. 161 is Pokemon. Another look at Pokemon. Oh, an Ultimate Guide to Res. That was an incredible game, wasn't it? If you ever play Res on the Sega Dreamcast, and you can easily do that with the Redream emulator these days, I think you'll absolutely love that one. Chase HQ, which is for issue 162. Good stuff. And the History of Warcraft. And I played that for about 7 years. Giving it up now until it becomes free to play. 163 is 20 years of Tomb Raider, plus Diablo. This must have been the time when Diablo came out on the Switch, which was very well received. I really enjoyed playing that one. And a look at some Atari 2600 gems. And that is the last regular issue that I've got. So I don't know if this one is dated, number 163, but I believe my friend still buys it today, but in digital form, because he just reads it on his tablet or something like that. So I'm not sure whether this has got any sort of date on to give us an idea of when this last one was published. It doesn't, in fact, it's interesting that the dates on these don't seem to be anywhere obvious. Yeah, it doesn't really say. But, all the same, that's good stuff. So what we'll do now, I'll just slip those to one side, because we've now got the Retro Gamer specials. Now, I don't think these are in order, so I'm just going to have a look and see if I can put them into order. Well, the first one isn't actually a Retro Games one. It's Games TM. So who remembers Games TM? Now, that's a magazine that has gone, sadly, down the pan now. But I remember buying it. It was great when I was gaming in the 90s and early 2000s. And this is their Games TM Top 100 video games. This was an exclusive to WH Smith's. And it's the Games TM editors. Always a really nicely designed magazine. But this is what they would recommend as their top sort of 100 games of all time. So this is their original Xbox, which I'm a huge fan of. So what do they recommend for that? Knights of the Old Republic, yeah. Burnout 2, Chronicles of Riddick Fable. Does it Outrun 2006? Best version of Outrun anywhere. Fahrenheit. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is good, yeah. Black's good. And Halo 2. They rank Halo 2 above Halo 1. I don't know. See, I played through Halos 1 and 2 with my son during the first lockdown recently, and we preferred Halo 1 to Halo 2. Right, here we are. So I've just found it. It's at the bottom of the pile just to make things awkward. So this is the retro compilation, volume 1. So it's the best of 24 issues of Games TM Retro. So once again, this actually isn't Retro Gamer. This is the retro special from Games TM magazine, because they always did retro sections, didn't they? And I remember when these retro specials came out, they were really good. They were the best thing that had ever been done. And this was obviously the cover to Crash #1, wasn't it? So that's the Games TM Retro #1. And then looks like we've got 2 and 3 here. So let's pull these out. So here's #2. It's evidently the first one went okay. And this is #2, which is a W.H. Smith's exclusive again. So it's Retro Gaming from 1979 to 2008. 256 pages of classic retro gaming inside. And there we all are. And it does look good stuff, doesn't it? I tell you what, this is as much retro gaming as you could possibly handle. But as I said, if you do fancy doing a bit of retro gaming yourself, on my channel here, I have got how to install emulators for your Android phone, and you can play virtually all of these classic machines now just on your phone, and the games are readily available. And I just got some nice little how-to videos, so do check those out on the channel, because they're very, very popular, and it's your way to get an instant retro gaming fix. So this is the third volume 3 retro gaming collection, which is good stuff. So it doesn't look at one particular thing, it's just retro gaming in general. That was #3. And then #4 is here. I guess they were doing like one every year or every couple of years. Another 256 page one. It doesn't say it's exclusive to Smiths this time, but I guess they probably were. And unfortunately, these are only reprints, but it's nice to have everything in one slot, and there's no adverts. It's just full-on information, which is cool. And then the last couple of bits we've got are these. I think these are fairly recent. This is video game hardware, and this is consoles from 77 to 99. So this is the early sort of years of consoles. As you can imagine, they're all there. And then there's like a volume 2 of this, which is video game hardware handbook. So 77 to 2001. So I guess volume 2 is covering stuff that I guess they just didn't get around to in volume 1. So different consoles and machines. So there we are. How cool is that? So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this second look through my collection of retro gaming magazines. Once again, thank you to Mark, who very graciously gave me his entire collection of retro gaming mags. So I'm very, very grateful for that. If you have enjoyed going through this lot of magazines, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for regular retro action, and don't forget to check out the retro gaming videos on my channel, of which there's quite a few. Thank you very much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.